I'm just stress eating over here. How are you? What can I put in my mouth that will make me feel better?
That sounds like my whole life.
I know. Yeah, totally. Happy, eat. Sad, eat. Eat.
I've had people, because there's been more than one time where I have actually tried to get professional help to some degree with my eating issues.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime you do that, they ask you the same questions, it seems like. And one of the questions is, when do you eat? Do you eat when you're happy? Do you eat when you're sad? Do you eat when you're stressed?
You're like,
I say yes to everything.
Yeah. An easier question would be, when do you not eat? And that is when I'm sleeping.
Yeah. And even then, I have found myself standing in front of the refrigerator more than once.
I'm a sleep eater.
I wouldn't be surprised if I was. Let me tell you that. Because I don't know. I wake up and I'm like, I'm full. That's weird. Did I have a steak last night? The leftovers are gone. Yeah. So
I am laughing so hard because I was texting you. I was like, hey, that second line in that first text I sent back, I was like, hey, I think we should. And then like your thing came up.
See, it's perfect. This was supposed to happen.
I know. Are you so happy because you're like talking to people all day today?
Well, yes and no. I mean,
not for the reason, but
right. But it's such a weird situation, and yet there is familiarity to it with me. Don't you think?
It's like deja vu all over again. Yeah. Like I got my hand sanitizer. Like what's happening here? There's an empty plate. Hold on. I got to go kill the planet. 1 minute.
You better get rid of that. I'm glad you got rid of that empty plate. I got rid of whatever was back there.
Destroy the evidence.
My wife threw up a black background to try to make things look better.
You're going to have to zoom in a little bit better to make that better.
I don't know how to zoom with this weird camera. It took her like 15 minutes of scrambling around because she was so concerned. And I was like, I don't think no one's going to be like, hey, you know what? We're in the midst of a pandemic right now.
Right.
But Jed's background is terrible.
Lighting be damned. Yes.
Also that.
Can we even say that in a photographer podcast?
Yeah, we're not supposed to, I guess.
Okay, so let's do it. What for reals? I'm gonna use my antiviral Kleenex to wipe my nose. Okay.
That's good footage.
Okay, what do you got?
Give me your thoughts on what's happening right now, Allison Tyler Jones.
Well, I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. I think just the conversations that I've had in the last 48 hours have gone from, well, maybe not that long, maybe longer than that, maybe since like last Friday, have gone from like, it's overblown. It depends on if you're talking to a millennial which are my kids, or, their gamut. But, I think some people are still like, well, isn't this overblown? The media is making a big deal out of it, to the sky is falling, to, somewhere in between. And I think I was speaking with Catherine Langsford, a friend of mine that's a photographer in Vancouver, Canada, this morning. And she says, I just think that she had a really good point. I think that people are processing this out at different speeds. So this is because it's not a 9/11. Like a 9/11 happened in an event in a very compressed time frame. It's a little more like 2008, where it was like every day there was next news, like how bad is this going to be? And you kind of like watching a very, very slow train wreck. And I feel like this is kind of like those two events combined with a much longer time frame, with looming what is going to happen, possible, like who's going to die and whose business is going to die, yes. Really,
honestly.
So I think that like Catherine said, she was speaking with a client who last week she called her. It was a older woman who she'd done a multi-gen session with and needed a bid on an album or whatever. So she had gotten back to her, and the woman said, just texted her and said, look, we're not making any decisions right now. You just can't even think about this. And Catherine thought, this was like Tuesday of last week. She's like thinking, okay, that's weird. Like, why are you so upset about it? So she said, I called her back today and apologized for not, she didn't obviously say to the client, like, that's weird, but she called and apologized and said, I didn't take that as seriously as I thought I was. I think we're just all at different processing, So it's kind of like right now, everybody's wanting to, on Facebook, and everybody's kind of wanting to get out ahead of this, and how are we going to fix it and whatever. It's like, we don't even know what it is.
Right.
It's like the train wreck is still happening.
Right.
It's the 12-car pileup. The cars are still spinning. We don't know if that one's going to flip. We don't know what's going to happen. And so, but as Americans, and me, I mean, I put, oh my gosh, I'm like 100% me put in this. Let's just figure this out. We got to get out ahead of this. We got to get on social media. We got to get plans for people to have, like, they're home with their kids. What are we going to do? We're going to be a resource. We're going to do this. We're going to go out and, like, here's my action plan. And it's
You're the fixer.
Yeah. It's like, I'm an EMT standing on the side of the road and the cars are still flipping. Like,
yeah,
sit on the side of the road and take a Diet Coke. Preferably for me would be no caffeine, because that causes me to be even more anxious.
Yeah. You don't need any more of that.
No. And just chill the crap out. But that doesn't sit well when you're thinking that you're going to lose your entire business, or that you could potentially get sick or get somebody else sick, or yeah. So those are, I mean, my daughter is a nurse practitioner and for Banner Health Systems, and she is so basically she's like a PA. And so she runs these urgent care. So when she's on, she's the top doc to run the urgent care. So she is in the front lines of this whole thing. And, so I keep texting her, so how's it going?
Yeah. Like trying to be as chill as you can. So what's up? How's everything going today?
Hi, little canary in the coal mine. How are things down there? And, so, I mean, so not funny. We might have to burn this before you ever put it out.
I mean, we laugh or we cry, right?
Right.
See, that's one of the pieces, like, since we don't know, since the cars are still coming into the pileup, essentially, we don't know if it's too soon. Like, people make jokes about things all the time, and then you say, oh, too soon? Well, we're like in the middle of that still.
So no matter what topic you're bringing up, I think we could say too soon for any of it. As far as client facing goes, I mein, between all of us, let's sit around and kvetch and freak out with each other and talk about how, like, look, I just feel like I barely got over the recession. Like, I feel like people, just in the last 3 years, those middle-class people finally started, like, going back onto their credit lines on their house and spending money irresponsibly again. Like, yay! They finally started doing that. And so that's going to be the first to go. But anyway, but when I start thinking that way, then I start getting panicky, and I don't want to be in that place.
But you're right, though. There's a difference. I mean, you have to consider, like, who you're talking to and what the situation is, and who knows who's going to see this. But I think your point is, when you're with a certain group of people, you are who you are. But client facing is completely different right now. I was talking to Greg and Lisa Daniel, and he was like, you don't want to be tone deaf right now, like, from a business standpoint. Right. And I was thinking, you don't want to just walk in with this cavalier attitude from a marketing standpoint and be like, hey, you know what? You guys are all home this week. Let's do some mini sessions on Saturday.
Right. And I think it's so funny because I love Greg, because we think so similarly, but I think tone is everything right now. Tone is everything. And so to me, and I was just in a couple of conversations about this yesterday. To me, what is client facing always, and this is in any marketing situation, and I don't care if times are good, bad, or uncertain, doesn't matter. Nobody cares about me. I just assume, I mean, my family loves me, and I think I have some clients that care, but really nobody cares about us there. And especially in times like this, they are just scared to death for themselves, and everybody is processing at different rates, and they don't know, and they're uncertain. So even to me, the whole idea of even posting something that says shop local or anything like that,
Right.
to me, that's
Right.
tone deaf, because
Yeah.
nobody cares about, or, go buy gift cards and, or book these sessions and we'll do it later. It's like, people are like, is my husband going to have a job? And I mean, I have a very high-end clientele. Like my billionaire clients probably aren't totally worried, but my millionaires for sure. I mean, because they're millionaires, as most people are on paper, and we've all seen what the stock market's doing.
Right.
So
right.
whether you're like, really, really have a lot or not, no matter how much you have, potentially we're going to have less. Okay.
Well, the millionaires are worth much less today than they were a week ago.
Right. And hopefully it will recover and whatever. But I think we can't, it's too soon to be coming out with, hey, here's what we're doing. Get a deal. Like, just scrolling, and everybody's glued to social media right now. Like I haven't looked up from my phone for 4 days. Like I am just like, I'm like, what's Tim Ferriss saying? Tim Ferriss has gone dark. By the way,
What's
Tim
is
Tim
totally
leftist holding the bag. And, I'm like looking at, BBC News. I'm looking at Fox. I'm looking at CNN. I'm looking at,
You're looking at all of it.
Right. And here's the thing. This is the weird thing. Like for 3 years, I have not watched news. Like, not even kidding. Do not watch news. So, but now I'm glued to it. So I think
this brought you back to the news.
I know, which is not a good thing. But I think I'm not alone. I think a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of our clients are
I think you're right.
Instagram. They're scrolling, they're trying to figure out what's going on. And when I look and I see a local business saying, hey, come in, I'm like, no.
Don't come in.
Or, whatever. But the cute little businesses that are like, hey, like one of the gyms that I belong to, a cycle thing, said, we are closing because we want everybody to be safe. We're suspending your membership for 2 months, and then we'll just continue it on for your contract. And I'm like, that is amazing. Now, is that going to hurt that business? Heck yeah, it is. But that's the first place I'm going to recommend somebody to, because they're thinking about me. They're not thinking about themselves.
Right.
And so now for photographers, like, how does that translate for us? I'm not going to call up and say, hi, I'm refunding all your session fees or whatever, but we are checking on our clients. Like, how are you doing? How's everything going? Are the kids home? Just one-to-one, even texting, like, how's it going? That sort of thing. And then we'll pick it up when it all comes back around. But I just think tone is 100%. We can't do, this is not a usual situation. We've got to be thinking about what our clients would want to hear, not what we want to tell them, and not what we're scared about.
Yeah, like if somebody was going to call you up right now, or if someone was going to send you an email right now from wherever, what would you want it to say? Would you want to save 15% in the month of April at a gym?
Yeah, let me risk my life and the life of everybody that I hold dear so that I can get 15% off my membership, because you told me that the 14-year-old is cleaning the kettlebells with the one Lysol wipe that you own. Sure, let's do that. That's smart. It's silly, so it's, but again, everybody is processing at different things. So there are going to be people that are like, no, we got to get out ahead of this. We got to be proactive and be top of mind. And so I do actually agree with that. And we can be leaders in that, so yesterday morning, what happened with me, just like on kind of like a little epiphany, was I went downstairs to get on my Peloton that Mary Fisk Taylor mocks me about. And I just couldn't decide even, I couldn't even have enough bandwidth to pick a class, because I just realized I'm so stressed out. So I came upstairs and I just kind of like had a moment, like I try to have like a moment of prayer and reflection in the morning. And so I just kind of did that. And then the thought just kept coming to me, how can I help? How can I help this situation? How can I serve? How can I help? And that immediately just made me so much more calm. And I didn't come up with any specific plans, but when it came to making decisions throughout the rest of the day, okay, is this going to help somebody else? Okay, let's do that. So
you looked at everything through that lens.
Right. And, so like we made up some little packets, because we have in our at our studio, we have like full-size candy bars, you know, things that we have for the kids. So we just have made up a couple of little packets, like movie night packets, that we're just going to go drop off at our neighbor's house. But then I'm going to text them and run away, but I'm going to spray a cloud of Lysol over the top of it as I run away, and then have that for them, you know, just to keep their spirits up. Because I know a lot of people have kids home, you know, and
oh,
you
yeah.
know, that's not client facing. That's just my neighbors. But it calms me down because, you know, I think, okay. Plus, I also know that when I look back at past times like 9/11, I look back at, you know, I was in banking in the 80s when the big crash happened in, I think it was 87, that Black Monday, the Black Monday. Yeah. I mean, you know, my first mortgage, you know, had a 21% interest rate on it. But so, you know, things like this have cycles, they happen, and they're scary and they're unknown. I've had, you know, 2 children be diagnosed autistic. I've been through a divorce, you know, I've had, this is the second business that I've been a sole proprietorship of, and I've had good times and I've had bad times. And I just know that those that help are happier. And that when we trust in whatever higher power you believe in, that we get a more of an eternal perspective on what's happening here, you know, that like, yes, this is scary and this might be really, really, you know, frightening for a while, but it could also turn over some things that maybe needed to be turned over individually for my own self, as a society, whatever, and could maybe make things like amazing and better, but it's too soon to even know what that is.
Right.
And so when I was in the space of like, say, having a young child that was being diagnosed with autism, and like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Is he going to be in a group home? Is he going to be institutionalized? Like, what's going to happen? And so I would have all of these like huge fears going through my mind. And whenever I forecast long term, that's when I just got into knots, because I would think of all the scary things that would happen. But if I could focus on right this second, and I look at this kid right in front of me, well, he's like a little blue-eyed darling with a bowl cut that's like, he's tearing my house apart, but he's darling, and I love him, and he's here, and we're here right now, and we're okay, you know?
Yeah.
And I think for the most part, you know, we're lucky enough. You know, I'm sure you have people all over the world listening to this, but if you're listening to this on an iPhone or an Android device or whatever, you're probably okay right now, you know. And so what is, it's like this right now, and it's okay. It's just, so what do we have in front of us right now? Are we going to spend this time freaking out, you know, yelling at our spouse? Not that happened yesterday at my house at all. Never.
Not around here either.
No. Certainly we're not snatching at each other, you know, being a jerk.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
for the littlest things.
Oh, well, I am married to somebody that should have been an life insurance actuary, like, or, you know, somebody like that. All bad things. Like, our employees are all going to quit and go open their own businesses because they can, you know, sell files cheap and doing print. I mean, like, we've been like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. What is the worst case scenario that you would like to hear? I can paint that for you right now, courtesy of Ivan Jones.
Well, there's times where, like, in the last 48 hours, I'm like, this is what it must feel like to be on crack. Because you're just way, way up. Yeah. And, like, like, you don't know what's coming next. You don't know what's coming next from your own mouth. You don't know what's coming next from their mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you realize how little control we actually have. Like, truly, you know, we how little control we actually have. My sister-in-law's darling, sweet, cute mother, last Monday morning, a week ago this morning, didn't wake up. At 3:30 in the morning, her dad rolled over and she was gone. And there was no warning, like, that's it. And they were one of the last funerals that was had at our church before they shut the whole gathering thing down. So, you know, I just think it's trite. Everybody's saying it, you know, stand together, help each other, stay home, whatever. And, you know, I swing between just like stay home, stay safe, and eat lots of carbs. That's kind of where I'm at, and drink a lot of Diet Coke. But you know what? It's going to be okay. And this industry has weathered these storms before. We're going to weather it again. People need what we do. They want what we do. And we're going to have to punt and figure out to diversify our offerings and maybe how we price things. And who knows how long this is going to go on. But we're going to be okay because we're going to take care of each other. And I mean, honestly, if the whole world goes down, we're all down. So
right.
We'll all help bring each other up. Except for Walmart. Jeff Bezos has got it good. I think he's probably doing okay, but you know, the rest of us are.
I'm sure he's got it good, but he's also lost like $38 billion in the last week.
Yeah, but that was all on paper, and his wife took,
she took a chunk of it too. Yeah.
She took, what did she get? 19 billion or something like that.
A lot more than I can like think
Not
about.
Not as much as she deserved, I'm sure, but.
Right. Also that.
Yeah.
Also that.
Says the woman. Says the woman. I don't know. What do you think, Jen?
One of the main things that I've been thinking about, because a week ago I would say I was in a completely different frame of mind, like a lot of people. I like how Catherine said that different people are in different places with it, and that story that she told is a good illustration. That's kind of what's happened to me too. I think initially, probably 2 weeks ago, I was like, come on, we're gonna get sick, and then that's it. And some of us are gonna be worse off than others. Then everyone's gonna get better, and we're not gonna think about it anymore. I was trying to blow it off that way.
Yeah.
And then last week, when things started escalating, of course, I was one of the first people to say, because I'm just a cynic in general, and I think I was just like, this is overhyped. This is, people are blowing this out of proportion. In the last few days, I've changed in that now I'm thinking to myself, if and I said this to Greg and Lisa too, if a month or two goes by and we can look back at this and laugh at how we overreacted, that'll be great.
Best case scenario.
That'll be just fine. We can all laugh, and everyone can point their fingers and say, oh, you did this, or you stockpiled this, and wasn't that ridiculous? I hope that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's like best case scenario for me right now.
For sure.
The worst case scenario, or one of the worst case scenarios, or certainly one that's a lot worse than that, is if we look back 2 weeks from now and we're lamenting that we underreacted.
Right.
That's what we want to avoid. That's what we need to avoid.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the whole flattening the curve thing, that's, all of that, essentially all that logic that has come out in the last week or so in particular has really hit home with me. Because I can't argue. I like logic. I like reason.
Yes.
And I can't argue that logic or that reason. Like,
you can't argue the data. Yeah, you can't argue that data. And
sure.
So Canada's Prime Minister said yesterday, look, you guys just need to stay home. He didn't have to enact any kind of legislation. It was just, hey, could you stay home? And they all just are.
Like, yeah, we're going to stay home. That's a good idea.
Because we care about other people. For Americans, they say, okay, 15 days. And basically what that means is everybody but me. Because we drove down Main Street that our studio's on last night, or Sunday night, every bar, every restaurant packed.
Slammed. Yeah. Slammed. Same thing in these parts.
Yep. So, it's just like, if it was killing millennials, it would be a different story,
Right.
And the old people were giving it to him. Oh, I can't even.
Right.
I have to tease because my kids are all millennials. But I mean, even our youngest last night, we were FaceTiming him from Utah, where he's up at school. And he's like, he goes, aren't you kind of feeling like this is overblown? And I'm like, okay, yeah, a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. But I'm like, no, it's not overblown. And you need to stay home because you're going to kill your in-laws and you're not coming to my house. So,
I mean, that's just what, and one of the things about it is you don't know if you have it anyway. Somebody.
Right. That's the thing.
They tell the story, like I talked to somebody, they're like, oh, I'm fine. I don't have it. You don't know that. Yeah. You don't know what you have right now.
Yeah. Well, and that's what my daughter-in-law said, that's the urgent care nurse. She said, I said, realistically, like, do you think it's overblown? How are you feeling? She said, look, she goes, the testing is so bad and so sketchy. She's like, we don't even know. Like, we're not going to know till like probably a while, So, but she knows that they're overrun and they got a lot of sick people and a lot of scared people. So I don't know, but I don't know. I just think, like everybody said it, fear's the enemy, and for sure it's not the time. I don't feel like it's the time to go into action, like as far as like, how are we going to fix this? Because we don't even know what it is. It's not the time to like fear and go buy, out the store, and so that we can't share, so that people can't get what they need.
Right.
So what is it the time for? When you have no control and you don't know, it's like, what is right now? Or am I okay right now? Do I have a place to live? Am I safe? Do I have a roof over my head? Do I have food to eat? Are my kids okay? That's it right now. And then we'll figure it out all together as we see what the fallout is. And, it's going to be, I just think it's going to be a process.
Yeah. From a personal standpoint, I think one of the best things to do right now is not take action. Like I think maybe that's the weird piece about this personally.
Yes.
From a business standpoint, what we were talking earlier, and it was like, all those things that you said you were going to get to someday, your marketing plan, your business plan, your life plans, all the stuff, that you don't have time for normally.
Right.
Today you have time.
I know, except that I'm like so busy freaking out about this. Like, and so I think but that's a piece too. That's part of it, is that like, can we just all admit, like, if I see one more post about how Sir Isaac Newton like developed the theory of, gravity and what the hell during the bubonic plague, I'm like, okay, listen, I can take a couple of days and freak out about this. Okay. I can take a couple of days and just rewatch Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
And eat some carbs and just worry a little bit, while alternately looking at my cute husband and realizing, yes, we're okay. And the sun is shining. It's 68 degrees in Arizona. It's, I can go out in my yard. It's not snowing. Like, so, but this is cyclical, right? It's like, so that's human. You cycle in and out of freaking out, but there's no should. There's no, like, this whole
that's a good point.
You should be organizing your cupboards. It's like, oh, with all my kids out of school. Sure. Okay. Let's do that. Let's organize our entire house with all of our kids out of school, that please, like, let them go infect the neighborhood. Get them out of my house.
You should be organizing your cupboards.
Well, but I mean, it's like on Instagram, everybody's like, okay, let's organize one drawer a day. And so it's like, okay, that is a great thing, but again, it's too soon. Like, it's like right now I just need to feel a little bit scared and talk to you on the phone and
That's
talk
a really
to my
great
friends.
Point. Yeah.
And just be like, are we all going to be out of business? Yeah, we're probably going to be all out of business. Okay, how much you got on your credit line on your business? Okay, have you pulled it out yet? Like, what's going on? What are we doing? What are we doing here? What are we doing? Like, the action is eat. That is the action. Have a few, probably don't get drunk, because then you might go out of your house. But
probably don't get drunk. That's
probably, you could have some Skinny Pop. I've laid in a 1 week supply. And I'm stocked up on Diet Coke. And I know it's going to be okay. I know it is, but I'm still like, I've worked really hard to dig out of the last recession, and we've been doing great. And now it's like, okay, it's all jeopardized, but it's not just jeopardized for me, it's jeopardized for everybody. And okay, so this is what I did, is in my moment of sanity after my Peloton meltdown, I did text my client, who is the head of a local, it's not a food bank, but what they do is they make up backpacks for kids that are not food safe. So they basically deliver these on a Thursday afternoon to the low income school districts, and the kids have food then that they can take home, get them through the weekend. And so I just texted her and I said, what are you guys doing? Do you need help? Do you need PR? I'll put anything on Instagram. If you need me to do pictures, you can use, what do you need? And so she says, oh my gosh, you're so awesome. I'm going to go meet with the mayor today and I'll get back to you. And so I just then started texting my other clients who also own small businesses, who are also freaking out. Yeah. And it's funny because you can see what's going up on Instagram, is the whole like, we are taking precautions, everything is great. And then they're on the DM, they're all just like, I mean, it's like the mind blown, everybody's freaking out on the back end. You know, client facing like, it's good, we will weather the crisis together. And then the DM is like, holy shit! You know? Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, so hi. So then I just said, hey, this, you know, I'm in touch with the lady over at AZ Brain Food, you know, about this. Are you down to help out with the kids that don't have food? And they're like, yes, we'll help. Yes, we'll help. Yes, we'll help. So we don't know even what that's going to look like right now.
Right.
Because again, it's too soon. But at least we're all kind of trying to think about somebody other than ourselves.
Yeah.
For just a brief moment before we freak out and go back to Better Call Saul, Skinny Pop, and Diet Coke. So that's all I have for you. That's my coping strategies.
I think it's, at the very least, you made me laugh really hard. I cried a couple times. It is too soon. It's too soon to really know what's up. And I think that erring on the side of caution is what makes sense right now. And I think there's a fine line between overly freaking out and just giving yourself the space to freak out for a little bit. Mm-hmm. You brought up a lot of good points and a lot of good things for me to consider too. I like there is no should. I like that. There is no should.
What are the shoulds of a pandemic?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you watched Walking Dead, there's probably a few things in there, but that does not end well. I'm pretty sure. I didn't see all of it. I only saw the first episode. I couldn't watch past that.
It is graphic.
I don't even want to be. I just want to be part of the solution. Alternately burying my head in the sand, watching Netflix and hoping this is all going to blow over.
I think you have the right mindset. I like it. Thank you for giving me your time today.
Well, it was great to talk to you.
Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe.
Eat carbs.